requires self-discipline and a positive mental attitude, ideas that are integral to your personal development. As I said before, you can reshape your life by reshaping your thinking. Dr. Hill has some simple but time-tested ideas on how you can go about doing just that. But first, W. Clement Stone will share some thoughts with you.
I've spent a considerable amount of time studying the asset and liability reports of businesses, my own, my competitors, and others. I've always been struck by the fact they don't tell you much about the people behind the assets and liabilities. And this information might be much more important. Now, we all have a kind of balance sheet for our lives, which includes some assets as well as some liabilities. In this session, Dr. Hill is going to talk about personality and its importance to you as you set out to achieve your goals. Pay close attention, for you may find that your personality is the best asset you have, or it could be your greatest liability.
Your personality determines whether people are attracted to you or shy away from you. It is the show window in which you display your character to the world, and it is the one thing which distinguishes you from all other human beings. It is your trademark by which people recognize you, and it is the thing which determines your success or failure in selling yourself through life. Therefore, you should see your personality just as others see it, so you may improve it where it needs improvement. Your personality consists of more than 30 different factors, traits, and characteristics. Because of the limit of time I can devote to this visit with you, I can mention only the more important of your traits of personality. But before I begin to describe these traits, I want you to know that every trait which goes into your personality is under your control, and you can improve it so it will be whatever you want it to be. Let us start with the most important trait of your personality, your mental attitude. This is the trait with which you attract people to you and cause them to like you, or repel them and cause them to dislike you. Your mental attitude must be positive if you attract people to you. How do other people know whether your mental attitude is positive or negative, you may ask? Well, the answer is easy. First of all, other people tune in and pick up your mental attitude by telepathy without your saying a word or making a move. But there are other ways they can tell whether your mental attitude is negative or positive. You disclose this information by the tone of your voice, whether it is pleasant or harsh, by the expression on your face, whether it is soft and pleasing or harsh and scowling, by the courtesy and consideration you show other people, or the lack of these. So you see, there is no escape from revealing to others the exact nature of your personality. The next most important trait of your personality consists of your flexibility of your mental attitude or your lack of it. If you have flexibility, you adjust yourself to all the circumstances in your relations with others without losing your composure or allowing yourself to become irritable or angry. Just remember, if you have flexibility of your mental attitude, it will be impossible for anyone to make you angry or to irritate you without your consent or cooperation. Now, this is worth knowing, isn't it? You cannot control the actions of other people which might justify you in becoming irritated by them, but you can control your reaction to all such circumstances by exercising your trait of flexibility. And you will observe that all people in the higher brackets of success have this flexibility, and they do control their reaction to the influences of other people. The third most important trait of a pleasing personality is the ability to control and direct your emotion of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is one of the means by which you can give forcefulness to your words, but you must be able to turn it on and off at will as definitely as you can turn on and off water at the spigot. Uncontrolled enthusiasm often makes people boresome. It also may open wide the window to one's mind through which other people may enter and influence one in ways he does not wish to be influenced. The fourth most important trait of a pleasing personality is a sincerity of purpose. The person who is not sincere in all relationships with others is soon detected and rejected, because no one is attracted to the person who thus endeavors to deceive others. Sincerity is one quality of character which cannot be successfully faked, not even by the most astute rascal or the most efficient actor, because insincerity evermore carries with it some warning sign which other people recognize. You have only to go back into your own experience with insincere people to prove the truth of what I have stated. Now let us turn our attention to some of the common habits which destroy a pleasing personality. Please check yourself as I describe these negative habits, and you may make discoveries about yourself sufficient to enable you to rebuild your entire personality so it will become a master salesman in your behalf. One of the most destructive habits which make one's personality objectionable is that of breaking in and running away with the conversation when others are speaking. And two, sarcasm, expressed by insinuations and wisecracks which are not so wise, is near the head of the list of habits which give one a negative personality. And third, vanity expressed by either words or actions is sure to make one unpopular. And four, indifference in listening while others are speaking is sure to be noticed and resented. It is more profitable to be a good listener than it is to be a good talker, because one is always apt to learn something while listening to others, but never learns anything from hearing himself talk. 5, the attempt to flatter where flattery is obviously not deserved will bring quick resentment from others. Also, it will put them on notice, if they are wise, that the flatterer wants something he perhaps should not get. And 6, the habit of finding fault with the world at large and people in general is never a popular habit, and it is no part of a pleasing personality. It is far better to direct conversation to the circumstances and things which are right than to complain of those which one believes to be wrong. And 7, one of the very worst habits which destroy a pleasing personality is that of openly and directly challenging those with whom one may not agree, where there is no obvious reason for doing so, except the desire to be on the opposite side. And 8, the habit of volunteering unsolicited advice to others who have not requested it can make one an intolerable bore. Free advice usually is considered to be worth just what it costs, which is nothing but the patience with which to listen to it. And 9, the habit of speaking of one's physical ailments, worries, and personal problems may be tolerated by others, but this habit will never make one welcome or pleasing. If you wish to make yourself welcome in your relations with others, manage to talk about things which interest and concern those to whom you are speaking. You will never be boresome to the person to whom you are speaking of himself and the things which interest him, a truth which all master salesmen understand and respect. And 10, the habit of endeavoring to convey an impression of superiority through the use of words and topics unfamiliar to others is a surefire destroyer of popularity. If you wish to sell yourself to others successfully, you must negotiate with them on their own level through terms which they understand. And 11, envy of those who are successful is a trait which destroys a pleasing personality. The truly great men and women have all been known to be generous, sympathetic, and joyous in connection with the good fortunes of others. And 12, slovenliness in body, posture, and in clothing never attracts but always repels others. Clothes make not the man, as has been said, but they surely give him a mighty good start if they are appropriate and properly worn. Carelessness in body carriage and posture is immediately traceable to a negative mental attitude. If you are free from these 12 common habits which make one unpopular, you probably have a very pleasing personality. Remember this, please. If you are not liked by other people, you may be sure there is a reason which you can detect and correct. It is unnatural for one person to dislike another without a cause. Before you can make full use of the master key to success, you will need to make your personality pleasing. This will require courage on your part and honesty with yourself. A pleasing personality stands near the head of the list of assets which make one truly rich. I was impressed with this truth many years ago when I heard Andrew Carnegie say that he paid his right-hand mastermind ally, Charles M. Schwab, $75,000 a year for the services he rendered directly. But he often gave Mr. Schwab a bonus at the end of the year of $1 million for the influence he exerted on his associate workers because of his pleasing personality. You see, therefore, Andrew Carnegie, who has been said to have been the greatest judge of men this nation has ever known, placed a value on a pleasing personality of more than 10 times as much as he valued the personal services of his right-hand man. Perhaps this will give you a clue that may help you up the market value of your personality. And now, until we meet again, may I wish you health, wealth, and peace of mind.
Here's the checklist of obstacles to a pleasing personality. Write them down and take a thorough and frank inventory of yourself, and then work to improve these areas. They are interrupting others, sarcasm, vanity, being a poor listener, that's very important, insincere flattery, finding fault, challenging others without good cause, giving unsolicited advice, complaining or whining, an attitude of superiority, envy of others' success, and poor posture and dress. You might also make a list of your positive personality traits and give yourself some appreciation for them. Let the light shine through your more pleasing personality.
Jeremy Taylor once remarked, "Whatever we beg of God, let us also work for it." It is sometimes easy for us in an increasingly complex world to stray out of action and allow ourselves to be controlled by the circumstances and conditions around us. Of course, the opposite of this is to work at the development of control over our thoughts and therefore our actions. We may well beg something of God, but as Taylor reminds us, we must also put ourselves into action to accomplish our goals. In this session, Dr. Hill describes how you can develop a discipline over yourself that will result in your taking control over your life. By developing habits that will bring your thoughts and actions together.
Self-discipline, as I am presenting it to you here, has reference not only to your mastery of negative habits, which stand in the way of your success, but more particularly to your development and enforcement of the positive habits you will need in order to avail yourself of the 6 assets you brought over with you in that sealed envelope I mentioned in our first visit. Now let me give you a list of the more important things over which you will have to exercise self-discipline before you can embrace and use the great master key to riches. 1, you will have to gain mastery over your tongue by acquiring the habit of thinking first and then speaking after you are sure that what you say will benefit you and not injure others. A loose tongue often is one's greatest liability. 2, you will have to exercise self-discipline in mastering the common tendency to strike back at those at whom you have a cause, real or imaginary, for a grievance. You must remember that everything you do to or for another, you do to or for yourself, because your every thought and every act which benefits or injures another person comes back to you in kind, greatly multiplied. So, if you feel that you must slander another person, do not speak it, but write it. Write it in the sands near the water's edge, then move away from it until the tides have flown. 3, You will have to exercise self-discipline over all of your emotions, particularly your emotions of love, hate, fear, and sex. These are the big four of your emotions, and they can make you or break you according to the extent of discipline you exercise over them. 4, your mental attitude needs discipline and control at all times. Lacking this discipline, it can, and it often does, drive away friends, destroy opportunities to get ahead, brings on physical and mental illness, develops stomach ulcers, and makes peace of mind impossible. 5, I have reserved the emotion of sex for special mention because failure to exercise self-discipline over this emotion probably heads the list of all the causes of personal failure. The emotion of sex is the most powerful of all emotions, and it is nature's great creative instrument with which all species of living things are perpetuated. The proper means of self-discipline of the emotion of sex is transmutation, the control and direction of this great emotional feeling toward the attainment of worthy purposes, such as the fulfillment of one's major purpose in life. The great leaders, artists, orators, industrialists, and professional people have learned the art of sex transmutation through the proper system of self-discipline. Because of the delicacy of the subject of sex emotion, I am limited as to the information I can give you about it on this visit. But I have covered the subject much more in detail in some of my books. And 6, your stomach also needs discipline through the proper habits of dieting and fasting, because information on dieting and fasting should come from your own doctor. I will not go into details concerning them, except to call your attention to the need for knowledge on this subject. Personally, I attribute my sound physical health mainly to the habits of dieting and fasting, which I have developed through the years. And 7, you will need to exercise self-discipline in relation to religion and politics, because our country, which is the most acceptable form of society civilization has yet produced, is made up of people of varying beliefs in connection with both of these subjects. To be happy and prosperous in our country, we must learn to live and to let live, to give others the privileges we ask and demand for ourselves. And this often calls for strict discipline over self. 8, but I have reserved until the last my reference to the most important circumstances over which you must exercise the strictest of self-discipline if you are to embrace and use the great master key to riches. I have reference to your profound privilege of taking possession of your own mind and directing it to whatever ends you may desire. You cannot take possession of your own mind or direct it to definite ends without a practical system. I have devoted the better portion of my past life to the revelation and presentation of such a system. And I know that this system works because it has been successfully used by many millions of people throughout the world. The system is not only practical and workable, but it is so simple that anyone who is ready for it may master it and use it successfully. Its use does not call for a genius nor a great amount of formal education. It calls only for a will to take possession of one's own mind and a definite purpose to which the mind is to be directed. Self-discipline by Thomas A. Edison made him the world's greatest inventor, who revealed to mankind during the first half of the 20th century more of nature's secrets than had been uncovered during the entire previous history of civilization. Self-discipline carried Wilbur and Orville Wright through a multitude of failures and enabled them finally to give the world its first practical airplane, an achievement which has made the world smaller and changed the entire trend of civilization. Self-discipline helped Helen Keller to triumph over deafness, blindness, and dumbness, a combination of afflictions such as most people never experience. Self-discipline helped me to carry on through years of heart-aching discouragement and defeat and give the world the first practical philosophy of success based on the know-how gained by hundreds of men and women who spent a lifetime by the trial and error method in discovery of the principles which lead to personal success. Self-discipline is among the top-ranking features of all the great religions, including, of course, the Christian faith. And there are some people who believe that our major purpose on earth is that of developing wisdom through struggle and self-discipline. One thing is certain: no one ever becomes very wise without the aid of self-discipline, and no one ever finds peace of mind and happiness without the strict exercise of self-discipline. Self-discipline is the only means of transmuting sorrow into faith. It is the only means by which we may transmute hatred of others into the milder emotion of sympathy for them. It is the only means by which we may reveal and profit by the seed of an equivalent benefit which comes with every adversity and every defeat. It is the only means by which we may shut out of our minds the deadly effects of past experiences of suffering and unpleasantness. And it is the means by which we may discover that other self we carry around with us, that self which has great capacity for belief and does not become influenced by failure and defeat. Self-discipline can give us freedom from the fear of death, the most difficult to master of all of our fears. It can free us from the disease of hypochondria, the fear of imaginary illness with which so many people suffer and sometimes die. Self-discipline is the means by which we may think our own thoughts, live our own lives as we wish to live them, and remain forever free from the evils of fears and limitations which we have inherited from the dark ages before the dawn of civilization. The Creator never gives one an asset or benefit without passing along with it the means by which it may be embraced and used. Self-discipline, therefore, is the means by which the Creator provided us with a method of embracing and using the only thing over which we have unchallengeable control, the power of our own thoughts. And now, until our next visit, may I remind you that the habit of taking the line of least resistance makes all rivers and some men crooked.
Let's end Session 6 by reviewing how you can exercise your self-discipline. Think before you speak. Curb the tendency to strike back at those who hurt you. Discipline your big four emotions: love, hate, fear, and sex. Control your mental attitude. Channel your sexual energy positively toward the attainment of worthy goals. Discipline your stomach through proper diet. Learn to live and let live, especially in religion and politics. And most importantly, take possession of your own mind and direct it to whatever ends you desire.
Surrounding us are those for whom all of life is a burden. I'm sure you've encountered many of these people. They always seem to be dragging. They seem to bring down the energy and atmosphere wherever they go. I like beginning each day with the words, I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific. I do that, not as an empty routine, but because I mean it. And this is not only good for me, but those around me are affected by this positive outlook. The I can, I will spirit continues to drive me and my associates. In this session, Dr. Hill outlines the philosophy of a positive mental attitude, which is so essential to success in whatever we choose to accomplish.
Well, this brings us to the 7th visit, and I hope to hand you the master key to success before I finish, because my subject will lead you so near to the master key that you will be apt to recognize it. As I have suggested in previous visits, A positive mental attitude can clear away all obstacles which stand between you and your major purpose in life. Because of the importance of the subject of our visit, I shall not only tell you that a positive mental attitude heads the entire list of the 12 great riches in life, but I am going to give you explicit instructions as to what you must do to keep your mind positive. In all the success books I have written, I have never suggested to my readers what they should do without clearly telling them how to do it. Are you ready? If you are ready, this visit may bring the most important change in your life you have ever experienced. 1, learn to adjust yourself to other people's state of mind and difficulties so as to get along peacefully with them and to refrain from taking notice of trivial circumstances in your relations with other people by refusing to allow them to become controversial incidents. Great people always avoid small incidents of controversy when possible. 2, establish for yourself a definite fixed system of conditioning your mind at the beginning of each day so you will keep it positive under all circumstances. 3, learn the art of selling yourself to other people by indirection, such as asking leading questions which will bring out the sort of reactions from others which you desire. And do not permit yourself to be drawn into argument over unimportant subjects. 4, adopt the habit of having a good hearty laugh every time you become irritated or angry, and it will help you if you begin each day with 1 minute of hearty laughing. This will change the chemistry of your brain and start you out with a positive mental attitude. However, you had better get out of sight when you take your laughing exercise. 5, start each day with an expression of gratitude for all the adversities, defeats, failures you have experienced in the past, and search for the seed of an equivalent benefit these have yielded you through the passing of time. Then give thanks for the blessings you expect to receive during the day. 6, learn to concentrate your attention on the can-do portion of all of your problems and desires and start action where you stand in carrying out this portion. No matter what may be your problem or your desire, there is always something you can do right now that will help you. Find out what this something is and do it. 7, learn to transmute all unpleasant circumstances into immediate action which calls for a positive mental attitude, and make this a fixed habit. For example, when you are angry, switch your mind to some sort of action in connection with your hobby or your major purpose in life, and keep it busy with that subject for 5 minutes. 8, recognize that every circumstance which influences your life, whether it is a pleasant or unpleasant circumstance, is grist for your mill of life, and so use it to make it pay you dividends in one form or another, remembering meanwhile that your strength grows out of your struggles. Follow this instruction and you will soon learn that there is no such thing as an unprofitable experience. 9, look upon your life as a continuous process of education, of learning from all your experiences, good and bad, and to be always on the alert for gains of wisdom which come to you a little at a time in both your pleasant and unpleasant experiences. 10, make the world over to fit your own pattern if you choose, but begin with yourself in some sort of self-improvement which will make you more open-minded, patient, and generous in your relations with others. 11, express gratitude twice daily for your recognition of the fact that you have been given complete control over your own mind, and ask for guidance in order that you may use this profound gift wisely in all your thoughts and acts. 12, go out of your way daily to comment enthusiastically on the good qualities of those with whom you live and work, but do not mention their negative qualities. Then observe with benefit to yourself how quickly others will begin to concentrate on your good qualities. Remember, I'm still talking about how to keep your mind positive. And 13, accept all criticism of yourself as an occasion for self-examination to determine how much of it is justified, and you will be sure to make startling discoveries about yourself which will help you to the remainder of your life. 14, Do not accept from life or anyone else anything you do not desire. And remember that Mahatma Gandhi proved himself to be more powerful than the great British military forces by this simple method of passive resistance. 15, remember always that there are two kinds of circumstances which cause you to worry. Those you can do something about and those you can do nothing about. Nothing, that is, except to use passive resistance and refuse to permit them to worry you. 16, keep your mind eternally engaged in thinking of that which you desire most, your major purpose in life, so no time will be left for you to waste on thinking of that which you do not want. And let me digress here while I tell you we are now rubbing elbows with the great master key of success this very moment. And 17, if you should ever be so unfortunate as to feel sorry for yourself, look around until you find someone who is worse off than yourself and start where you stand to give him help. Make this procedure a habit, and you will witness one of the great miracles of life, because that which you do to or for another, you do to or for yourself. And 18, choose some person whom you consider to be the sort of person you would like to be. Then go to work and emulate that person in every way possible. Great people have always been hero worshippers, but they pick the right sort of people to emulate. 19, cultivate your tone of voice so that your words have a pleasing musical sound. And remember that the sound of your voice is an open window through which other people look into your very soul. It will be a profitable investment if you will get a tape recording machine and record samples of your voice daily while you practice the art of expressing yourself through a friendly sounding voice. If you are engaged in selling, this practice will quickly pay off in monetary dividends. 20, last but by no means the least, write out this sentence and paste it in a prominent place where you work and on a mirror where you see yourself in your home. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. The 20 instructions I have just given you have come from my own personal experiences over more than 40 years, and they represent also my observations of more than 500 successful people who helped me to organize the science of success philosophy. I claim no copyright on these great truths, and I want you to possess them because I know they can bless you the remainder of your life if you are ready to accept them and put them into action. Remember also that you are the only person who can provide you with a positive mental attitude. What are you going to do about it? On your answer to this question rests your entire future.
Well, there's no doubt that W. Clement Stone and Napoleon Hill are reliable sources of information about the power of PMA, positive mental attitude, since they co-authored that world-famous book, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. Now, before we end this session, let's do a quick recap of Dr. Hill's 20 steps towards building a positive mental attitude. May I suggest that you write them down, and then select those that you've not mastered and work on them one at a time until they become your natural habits. 1, adjust yourself to others' states of mind. 2, condition your mind at the beginning of each day. 3, sell yourself to others indirectly and don't argue. 4, laugh when you become angry or irritated. Make it a habit. 5, start each day by being grateful for the benefits from adversity and for the blessings you'll receive. 6, concentrate on the can-do part of your problems and do them now. 7, transmute unpleasant circumstances into immediate action, which calls for a positive mental attitude. 8, remember, your strength grows out of your struggles. 9, look at your life as a continuous education process. Learn from your experiences. 10. Work on becoming more open-minded, patient, and generous with others. 11. Express gratitude twice daily for having control over your mind, and always use it wisely. 12. Go out of your way to appreciate others' good qualities. 13. Accept all criticism as an occasion for self-examination. 14. Don't accept from life anything you don't desire. 15. Refuse to permit yourself to worry. 16, and this is very important, keep your mind thinking of that which you desire most. 17. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, find and help someone who's worse off than you are. 18. Choose and emulate someone who is the sort of person you'd like to be. 19. Cultivate a pleasing tone of voice. 20. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Write and place this sentence in a prominent place where you work and on your mirror at home. Well, there you have them. Napoleon Hill called these 20 steps a definite system for taking possession of your own mind and directing it to bring you whatever you desire from life. It now remains for you to ask yourself, what am I going to do about it right now? Don't move from where you are until you've answered that question. And when you've answered it and decided how you'll act on it, move to view Volume 3 of The Master Key to Success.